So they was marching down the bench, telling everybody, get up. Boom, smacking fire out of them. Yo, get up the bench. Wow. Yo, get up. Wow. Making dudes get up. And I was sitting on the bench, you know what I'm saying? And I had my food.
What year was that on Rikers Island when you said you was in the same dorm with the nigga Killer Ben and all of that?
Oh, that was in 88.
Who else was up in there?
Man, a lot of dudes was on the island at that time, son. I'm talking about Waymo and Darby and them was there. The dudes was locked up for killing 50. Ben and them was there. They, you know, Ben was on that. They had Ben name up in that 50 case, but you know, Ben, Juju was there. Who else was there? Let me see. Dude from Queens, Big Ron, dude from Queens. What's his name was in my house? Courtney and Jeff from 40 Projects. From Baisley. Big Ron dude was from 40. All them dudes, we was all there in the 4 building. I'm not just the 4 building, but the 2 main houses. We was in Mart. First they had us in Mart 8, then they moved us and put us in Mart 9. It was Mart 9 and 4 upper. Those the 2 main houses. You had like Mart 2 and 2 lower and stuff like that, or rather Mart 2 and with the other cop. We had Mart 2, Mart 8, and Mart 9, Mart 7. Mart 6 was New Jack at the time. Mart 7 was one side was MO and one side was regular. Then you had Mart 8 and Mart 9, and they would switch us up, like move the groups from Mart 9 to Mart 8 or whatever. And but it was mostly Mart 8, Mart 9 was mostly just Brooklyn Queens house. You feel me? Mostly Brooklyn Queens dudes. You know, like that. Yeah, really, you had some dudes from Uptown, like one dude from Uptown, they call Uptown, they used to, you know, like put in razor work. But it wasn't too many dudes from Uptown that was putting in like work like that. You know what I'm saying? I was with Natural Wise too. World Brother Wise. That was my man, bro, that got killed, bro. With the waves in his head, Natural Wise, man. He used to call himself Natural. He said my name Natural Wise. That was World Brother. That's how I knew World Brother Wise. He was on the island with me. Son was cool. Son was with us. Man, there was so many dudes in our unit, bro. And I was a younger dude. You feel what I'm saying? They was 18, 19-year-olds. You feel me? They was all older than me. Been in all of them. But we was all in the same unit. And all of that. But one thing about it, the man had balls. You feel me? Yeah, son. Your man had balls, son. So wherever I go, son, I'm gonna have balls, son. And I had balls, and you know I had balls, and that's how I met. What's his name? Like, you know, Sha was there. Sha from Kingsborough. Everybody know, getting on money, big Sha, green eye Sha. He was there, and he was cool with my cousin Star. God bless him, that went back to the Essence. That was his man. He came and visit me and saying, Sha on a visit. Like, yo, Sha, that's my cousin right there, woo, woo, woo. So right there, Sha told everybody, like, yo, boom, boom. And then, you know, Ben was, what's his name, my cousin, people too. And, you know, so they was like, yo, whatever. So dudes knew I was there, knew who my family was. So, and there was dudes that was kind of like, in power in the building that had big names. And that's why, like, when Son brother came through, I ain't gonna lie, when Sha brother came through, Keith, dudes know Keith, Green Eye Keith from Kingsborough, dudes know Son. Son came through, and Son was in Mard too with Guy and all of them, with Guy Tony and them, and then he wound up coming down to Anima segment with me and Guy and Son, and I ain't gonna front, son. I let Son live down there, son. I let Son live down there, son, on the strength that his brother was Sha. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, son, I didn't give them no, because, son, I was giving dudes the blues, son. I didn't care who they was, where they was from, and who they was, I was giving dudes the blues when they came down there, son. And dudes know it, too. I was giving them the blues, yo. And God told me he could, from Pink Houses, son, he could verify, because that was my son. He was down there with me, son. And Son knows something. Son was with me. Son know. He verified. You know, son is the one that, what's his name, cut. Mano cut. You know what I'm saying? And that Mano got the cut over. The one that he got, the same dude. Son was with me. Son was my man. Pink Houses. Let me tell you. Son repertoire on that joint was for real. I was there with Son and all of them. They was in with me on the island, and you know that's when it was real. That's when dudes was getting cut. You know, you could get was 30 days in the shoe. That was the max you could get. The shoe wasn't nothing. The bing that we call it on the island, the bing bing bing. That's when I first learned about all of that stuff on the island, bro. About the phone, 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh. You had to establish yourself with phone time. You know, you learned everything.
Remember niggas used to be like bing, 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 6 lower.
Dudes thought I was from Manhattan, son. Dudes came in there, dude named Big Shot. Me and Son wind up, you know what I'm saying, becoming, I'm talking about real, you know what I'm saying, real people, you know what I'm saying, Son wound up becoming, you know, Shot came through, he came through the pens just before I met him, you know what I'm saying, he came through and Son came in, you know, big, like, you know, big light-skinned dude, big, you know, size on him, you know, one of them dudes that was probably in Sparfit, you know, since he was 11 or something, you know what I'm saying, doing push-ups, you know what I'm saying, big for his age type dude. You feel what I'm saying? The Son came. I was in the Manhattan pens because I had a Manhattan case, right? And Son had, I had caught a case in Midtown, and Son had came to the Manhattan. I was going to Manhattan court, so Son came to the Manhattan pens. But you know how Brooklyn dudes would come to Manhattan pens and harass dudes. But you know how it was. Harlem dudes at the time, you know, wasn't really, you know, they was, you know, they was getting money, but they wasn't really shaking on an island like that, not an adolescent like that. You had some, but majority of them wasn't shaking, and you know most of them was getting locked up for little drugs. So like back then, you could tell what the dude was in, where he was from by the type of charge he had. Like if dudes had arson charges and stuff like that, most likely they was from the Bronx. If dudes, and you know, robberies, you know, from the Bronx too, but it murders is everybody. But majority of Brooklyn dudes is getting locked up. Like dudes got locked up for, if dude locked up for a robbery or a murder or something like that, majority of dudes for robberies and murders and stuff like that, you know, was coming from Brooklyn, you know, and, you know, dudes that had like drug charges and stuff like that, you know, getting caught with cracks and caught a sale and stuff like that was mostly dudes from Harlem, you know, from Harlem, and dudes from like, you know, Queens dudes used to catch a lot of sales too, because they used to be on the corners too. In Brooklyn, you know, dudes wasn't playing the corner, like dudes used to be up in spots at the time a lot, but dudes in Queens and in Harlem, dudes used to play the corners, so dudes used to catch a lot of direct sales and stuff, so a lot of them dudes was coming in with direct sales on the island and stuff. So dudes was going in them pens like harassing dudes, so I was in the pen, boom, in a Manhattan pen, and Son came up in there, him and some other dudes, and they came up on some, like, trying to tell everybody to get off of the, what's the name, to get off of the bench. So they was marching down the bench, telling everybody, get up, boom, smacking fire out of you, yo, get up the bench, wow, yo, get up, wow, making dudes get up. And I was sitting on the bench, you know what I'm saying, and I had my food, and you know how you bring your food and you put it in the, you got it in the bread bag with your, you know, your onion roll, your little pack of turkey, your little cup slice of Swiss cheese, and your little half a pack of Tang or whatever, you know, in the bag. And I got that joint like sitting between my legs, like on the floor, and I'm sitting on the thing. And then he get up to me, like, look at me, like, yo, you know what's up? He looking at me, but he sizing me up, like, Son don't look like he one of these dudes. You feel what I'm saying? But Son looking at me, and Son like, yo, like telling me like to get up, and I'm like looking at Son, and I'm like, yo, this is about to be it right here. It's going down. And I'm like, yo, I bet you one of them dudes got a razor. I did not want to get caught with no razor, Son. You feel me? I was like, yo, you know this. I'm like, man, my heart pumping. You know what I'm saying? My heart pumping. It's the, you know what I'm saying? The moment you feel, you know what I'm saying? Boom, and it's like how you react is gonna tell everything, you know. And when Son was like, yo, you know what I'm saying, get up, I just looked at Son. I ain't even saying nothing. I was like, ignoring him. And then Son went, looked at the floor and see my thing, and Son kicked my joint across the floor. Son booted my joint. He footballed my joint across the doggone cell. Right? Boom, kicked my joint. Boom, and I got up. When I got up, the other two dudes that was with him came and stood right over him, like, stood right over me, like, what? Like, what's up? It was all three there. It was just me, and I was like, yo, I'm ready to pop off. Everybody in the cell, like, look it. I'm like, yo, I looked at them, and and I just walked by, and they just let me walk by, and I picked up my stuff, and picked up my stuff off the floor, and just looked at them, and stood against the wall, and just looked. And they was just there, you know what I'm saying? They just start harassing other people. They ain't even say nothing to me no more. You feel me? For real, son. They spared me. They ain't even say nothing. I picked up my stuff. I stood against the wall. I ain't say nothing like, yo, you pick my stuff? Like, yo, what's up? I ain't say nothing. All I was like, yo, I'm gonna see son somewhere, and I'm gonna do something to him. Like, if I'm gonna pick him up, so I'm gonna pick up son, or I'm gonna get me a nice little knife or something from somebody. I'm gonna get a weapon, and I'm gonna see son in the building somewhere, and son is gonna be my victim. He's gonna be the person that I get my reputation from. That's all I'm thinking in my head. You feel me? But how things work out is that son was up in Fort Upper. No, son was in Mard. Son was in Mard 2, and son was in there with dudes. And when I went to what's the name? When I went to Chow with my unit, and I seen son, and I pointed son out, and dudes knew dudes, and everybody knew everybody, and son dudes told son like, yo, son, people, you know how it go. Some of those dudes like, yo, son, is people. And son was like, oh, son, like, yeah, son, So, you know, me and son wound up, you know what I'm saying, kicking or whatever, and son became one of my better dudes in the joint. And I give son props because son, when it was rough with dudes up north on the blood tip, when they was trying to, wasn't trying to let bloods get established up north, son was one of the few that I know that came up north and didn't say he wasn't, because, you know, a lot of dudes was saying that they wasn't blood when dudes was first coming up north, when stuff was first being established, like in the early 90s, you feel me? And dudes was like, they wasn't trying to let blood dudes establish themselves in the joints, because they felt like if they let them establish, they was going to take over, because they said that's how they did it on the island. So when dudes come up from the island, the dudes come up and they be on the compound, they be like, yo, dude blood, they be the Nyetas and the Kings wouldn't let them establish. They run them off the compound. But son was the dude that I give son. They respected son, and son stayed on the compound. You feel me? And when blood dudes came, he gave them their spiel and let them know, like, yo, if you gonna rock, dudes gonna rock with you. You feel me? If you feel like you ain't going nowhere and you gonna rock. But a lot of dudes, bro, was tucking their tail and leaving. So he wasn't gonna put himself on the line, and dudes was trying to tuck their tail. But if dudes was like, they gonna boom, he was him and a dude named Musk. You know what I'm saying? From it's like Flatbush in the style. Musk, you know what I'm saying? He what Musk was from Crown Heights or the style something. I think something was from Crown Heights. Musk. And he was a blood. He was back when they was calling themselves OG Lords. You know what I'm saying? And he was from back then, from non-trade. And son was a real dude. Son, he him and Sha, man, they both was like, yo, they some of the first dudes, man, I knew that held it down.
So it was safe to say that, and at that time, in that particular day, them niggas was the alpha males.
They was alphas in there, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, listen, I was an alpha, but I was in a different age group. I was in a different bracket. But I was just learning, really, the prison stuff. But son, it didn't take me long, son. Because one thing about it, a lot of dudes I learned, son, a lot of dudes was coming in there with, see, I was able to, like, transfer, like, because my thing is this, I just said I'm going to be who I am in the streets, in prison. You feel me? Because I seen a lot of dudes coming from the streets and not being who they was in the streets in prison because they didn't have the tools of their trade. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And dudes used to harass a lot of dudes too. Like a lot of dudes that bust their gun hard in the street was little dudes, son. And when they came to prison, sometimes a little dude, if you ain't busting your gun in prison, it's like, even you can have a knife in prison, but if you a little dude, it's like you a little dude and you got a razor. And this dude is like 6'3", 220 pounds with a big sword in his hand. You feel what I'm saying? And you were and you 5'3", 145 pounds with a razor. You feel me?
Word up.
This dude in the street, you backed him down and robbed him and took everything he had and bust him upside his head with the gun, and he's scared to death you in the street. But right now, you a little dude that's 5'3", 140 pounds with a razor, and he's 6'3", 250 with a big knife. You feel me? And saying, what's up now?
Straight up.
And I seen a lot of that. You feel me? And they used to try to harass me because they used to try to harass my man. because he was a little dude, and he bust his gun hard in the street. But son wasn't having it, and a lot of us used to hold son down because son was a real dude. A little man God, because son was a little dude. A lot of dudes is little dudes. Ben is a little dude. He was a little dude, bless him. A lot of them dudes, man, I met them dudes was little. I used to hear their names in the street, son, and I used to see them dudes in prison. I'm like, man, a lot of these dudes is little dudes, yo. I'm like, what the heck? Like, yo, you the tough guy, but you know, you don't got them hammers, yo. It's a different thing of walking up on a dude with that knife and grabbing him by the collar and just poking him. You feel what I'm saying? Then pulling out that fist and standing, you know what I'm saying, 10 feet away and blowing his brains out. That's a whole different thing of getting up on a dude, you know what I'm saying, and grabbing his clothes so he don't go nowhere and stabbing him all up in the rib cage and stabbing him so hard with a bone crusher that you break his arm and stuff like that. You feel what I'm saying? And you feeling the knife going in and out of him with like the suction and stuff like that. And you feel what I'm saying, son? It's a whole different experience, son. It take a whole different type of heart for that. It's a whole different type of animal.
It's a different level of brutality.
Yeah, it's a different level of brutality, bro. And I be seeing it. So that's why when you brutal like that, son, you can see it in the person's eyes. So you can feel it you can feel their energy, son, because I'm a brutal dude, son. And when I be in rooms where I'm a brutal dude, son, I can feel it. And they can feel me, son, and they know, and they can feel it because they feel the bestiality in the air, son, and they know what's up. And I'll be like, yeah, okay, and they be like, yeah, okay, and that's what it be, son, because I'm a whole different type of animal, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not proud of the person I was or who I, you know what I'm saying? And like I told you, bro, I'm like redemption, bro. I redeem. I'm different. You feel what I'm saying? And I stay away from violence, and I'm in therapy, and I stay away from violence, and I stay away from the hood. I stay away from areas that bring out, you know, my violent behavior, because, you know, like I stay away from the hood because I can thrive in them areas, and if I'm in the hood, it's like it makes me become the person that I don't want to be, but I have to be that person in order to survive and thrive, and I want to survive and thrive in any, you know, area I'm in. That's who I am. So if I'm there, I have to become who I was in order to survive in that situation. So I stay away from that situation, you know. And, you know, and this is how I become a better me, man. You feel me? But, you know, during them times, man, them times happen, man. And, you know, I'm just giving it up. This is who I was. And I'm not proud of who I was, but I was who I was. And I did the things that I done. You feel me? And, you know, but one thing about it, son, I never would like being an oppressor. I didn't like oppressing people. And you met me, you know I wasn't no oppressor, son. You feel what I'm saying? You know I wasn't no oppressor. You remember when I almost got into it as soon as I got there with son.